So I'm just going to do a really brief video today about the ResMed airlines. They do tend to break. You can't see anymore because I have already fixed these. But if you do look inside here, I'll try and get you a decent view inside there. You can see kind of the edges on the inside. There's all of that debris. Oh, there you can see it real good. There's all of that debris on the inside there from the plastic coming apart. You can see that the way that this is made is that there's a metal coil that is held together with a plastic binding in between the coils. And there's kind of a plastic piece outside, but the inside are these little copper coils for sending messages. And so there's a bunch of different parts of the machine here. This one is the one that goes into the final machine, and this one is the one that goes into your airline, what goes over your face mask. So this ClimateLine Air Line, this one, you can see it's got lots of stuff on it. This is really old, and the reason it's really old is because I have spent the last several years trying to repair it with this electrical tape. But as you can see, the amount of electrical tape required was just kind of ridiculous. And that's where this amazing little stuff comes in. I discovered this at the hardware store. It's called self-fusing silicone tape. And the way it works is essentially that if you stretch it out really far, in much the same way as you might stretch your electrical tape, you take your electrical tape and you stretch it out as far as you can to get it to stick to itself well. If you stretch this stuff out, it will fuse to itself. You can see on the back of the container here that it says that it will fuse to itself within 24 hours. And from my experience, it does actually fuse to itself essentially immediately. And so what I've done here, in this particular case, the damage done to one of these was almost ripped almost entirely off of the nozzle end here. And so what I did initially is I just used some of this metal tape that I had on hand to try and make a barrier so that it wouldn't, you have to yank on the tape pretty hard, so you have to be really careful not to rip any further into the line. And so I used this kind of stiffer piece of tape, just a thinner, I cut it in half and used just a thinner, I guess this would be just about 3/4 of an inch tape, and I wrapped it around the line just to try and get it to be stable so that I would be able to pull as hard as I need to pull on this self-fusing silicone tape. But you can also use the actual nozzle end to make a mount of that tape and secure it to itself as you wind it around, and that will help you to do that. But what I have here now is the finished product, and I wanted to show you in case those of you like me are trying to make this very expensive product last longer. If you can see what I've done here, I've used a thinner piece of tape. You can see that it's very, very unneatly, in a sense, been wrapped around itself. What needs to be done for this is it says, here it says it stretches 3 times its length. So you need to kind of secure it with your hand, take your finger, push it down, and pull it as hard and stretch it as far as you can. It won't break, so just feel free to stretch it as far as your fingers can stretch, and take that stretch, wrap it around. I would recommend 2 to 3 times to wrap it around. Here you can see I've done a thinner one on this piece to keep it from popping off unnecessarily. I think this is the easiest place on this line to make kind of a cut as to what is stable and what moves. And this is so I'd say this is kind of an optional one depending on how you use your device. And this one here is the one that I can see just a tiny little bit of that metal down there. This was the line piece that was really badly damaged. The plastic, the clear plastic was really badly damaged and was you know, causing whistling or causing there to be a break in the line. And so you can see here that I have twisted, you know, and you can see sort of this, you can see how much it's been stretched here at the end. I have stretched and stretched and stretched and twisted all the way around. I would say, again, this is about 3 times that I have gone around. And you can see here, if I kind of start picking on it, nothing happens because it has begun fully fusing to itself. I mean, I only did this about 20 minutes ago, and it has basically fully fused to itself. What's great about this is that this substance is silicone, so it's still really quite flexible. So when the line flexes and moves, it's not going to be a problem, which means that if you actually have a problem somewhere else down the line, and of course, different people are going to have different experiences with where they're going to have leaks on these lines, you will be able to do that down the line. Now, I would recommend that you do this with, you know, 6 to 8 hours before sleeping, or, you know, do it in the morning when you wake up before, so you don't have to go to bed for quite a few hours, because this stuff does have a bit of a smell, and it's not super pleasant. However, because it's not really touching the air that you're breathing, because you would kind of squish, you see how these coils, you can kind of squish them shut, you know. Here, I'll give an example of that. You can squish the coil shut like this. And so it's not really touching the air that you're breathing. It's just keeping your item solid. It would be ready to go. So I cannot recommend this enough. I've now got these 3 different spots. Now this is a completely airtight line again. There's no reason for me to repurchase this very expensive piece of equipment. And again, I think this was, I don't remember exactly how much it is. I'll put a link in the description to where you can purchase it on Amazon if you just want to grab it real quick. But this self-fusing silicone tape, whatever brand you're looking at, and this is not a paid promotion or anything, this is just me discovering this amazing new way of avoiding trying to wrap this much, you know, bad tape around what I'm doing. But this should just dramatically extend the life of your airline for your CPAP machine, and any other kind of machine that needs an air, like a nebulizer or something like that. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. If it has, just leave a quick comment letting me know it has, that my time in making this video made something really work for you. And I hope that this is something that you need. Just all you need is a pair of scissors, this tape, and you can completely revolutionize how often you need to purchase one of these lines. It's a great way to save a little bit of money on your CPAP machine.